Welcome to Inside Sim Racing, episode 15. Jessica Lopez here. It's been a busy week in sim racing and we have a lot to cover, so sit right back and enjoy the ride. We take you to the Sim Factory, who has finally released the first patch for their title Arca Sim Racing. This patch has a long checklist of items that were fixed, as well as a revamped Daytona track. Besides the bugs that were fixed, new features were added to the already fantastic sim, including added physics for Rockingham, aka The Rock. The Rock is scheduled to be released this week. In addition, the Sim Factory has announced plans for 6 new tracks, including 5 ovals and the soon-to-be-built New Jersey Road course. If you already own this sim and want the patch, or if you want to learn more about it, just go to thesimfactory.com. At our first pit stop, Darren's here with me to tell you guys about Codemasters landing the Formula One license.
Yeah, they sure did, and they plan on putting it back on all platforms, PC, PS3, and the Xbox. Seems like a lot of you out there aren't too happy about this either. In all honesty, there's not enough money in sim racing at the moment for any of the developers to land a license like that. Codemasters claims to have 350 people on the project, and all we can do as sim racers is hope that some of these guys will focus on the physics and realism. The versions for the console are sure to be dumbed down to an extent. I can't imagine realistic tire wear, setups, or damage, but you never know. Someone may break the mold someday. For the die-hard sim racers, there's always going to be R Factor and Live for Speed if you want to drive a modern F1 car in a sim environment. The game is said to hit the shelves in 2009 and be based on the 09 F1 season and be the first F1 title to feature Lewis Hamilton. When it does, we'll be here to report on it. Now let's move on to some racing action. Jessica, what do you have for us?
Well, after much preparation, SSCA and PSR TV put on one heck of a show May 10th at the Butt Kicker 8 Hours of Sebring. The surprise of the day was that of Robin Taylor and the DH Racing team taking pole position from Ghost Speed. It took Marquez some time to find his mojo once the race began, but it wouldn't be long before Ghost Speed put their car out front for good. Ghost Speed's Bruno Marquez and Andres Corrali, and this time they were joined by David Greco and went on to dominate this race.
Under the SRT bridge, off the final corner, and after 8 hours, David Greco leads the Ghost Speed R8 to the checkered flag at the Butt Kicker 8 Hours of Sebring.
The point leaders headed into race in LMP1. Swedish-American finished a strong second place to hold on to a narrow points lead. An impressive first outing, taking the pole and a podium in their first showing, DH Racing finished up in third. In GT1, for the third race in a row, the Orion race team put their DB R9 on the pole. After the race start, Wilfred van den Brink and Sim Racing for Holland showed an extremely impressive pace. However, some mid-race troubles allowed Orion to make up that time with great drives by Chris Summerfield and Mike Dubois to take the win.
Off the final corner, your GT1 winner at Sebring, Chris Summerfield and the Orion Racing team.
Sim Racing for Holland finished in second on the lead lap, with some controversy between SRT and Fletch Tech for that third and final podium position. Check out the on-demand replay by going to psrtv.com. All right, we're at the halfway mark, and I'll be right back here on Inside Sim Racing. Welcome back to the show. We received a press release this week from an endurance racing friend, Marcel Offermans, who is a man on a mission. He determined to get the driver swap bug that has plagued many an R-Factor endurance race tracked down and squashed. The Benelux Endurance Series is putting up €100 for the person or persons that can find a reproducible bug that can be reported to ISI. Marcel has been working with ImageSpace, and when they heard of the €100 bounty on the bug, they decided to get in on it and will match the 100 for a total of €200. To help out with the testing and to get a shot at that 200, head to our forum for the press release. Time for our Model of the Week. Sean gets dirty checking out the latest Vora buggy release, as well as the new track from D-Dog.
Well, it has been a little while since we have reported about much dirt racing, but a couple of modders for R-Factor have released a few new goodies for us. First up are the Vora buggies. These little fun machines are modeled after the 90s version of the buggies made famous at places like Baja. And if you're looking for a good place to drive these buggies, you're in luck there too. Vora 44 has released Rattlesnake Ridge as well as Mason Pass, and his good buddy D-Dog has released Devastation Hill. Plenty of dirt fun for all. Darren and I both met Vora 44, aka Gary Steele, as well as D-Dog Dave Jensen at the GDC a few months back. They are both great guys and a lot of fun to talk with, and these guys are truly devoted to R-Factor and its growth. You can expect to see a lot more out of these two, I'm sure.
Sim Challenge headed to Barcelona for round 4 of their championship running GTR2. The GT race on Sunday was a demonstration of skill by French touch racing driver Stéphane Morelli. With a slight weight advantage over his competitors, he grabbed first position in qualifying, and then once the race started, he was in a league of his own. Lap by lap, he increased the gap to his nearest competitors, whom were way too busy fighting each other, and after 87 minutes, he claimed his first ever and well-deserved Sim Challenge win. Final finishing spots in GT were Morelli, Lacombe, and Bartsch, rounding out the podium. In NGT class news, some major battles took place in a rain-soaked event. Pit strategy was the key with Goodall's change to intermediate tires as Rodriguez decided to take a gamble and stayed out. It didn't pay off for Rodriguez as Goodall brought his Cyber Racing Porsche to victory lane over teammate Rodriguez and Joachim Strom in third with his first ever Sim Challenge podium. Points leader Marco Hardakainen had a rough day and scored no points. Marco Joseph remained in second, while only 6 points separate third place with Goodall, Rodriguez, and Glauvac over fighting it out. Well guys, I received a ton of great letters on how a lot of you became involved in sim racing, but there was only one winner that was randomly selected, and here it is. Special kids face challenges every day. It is no different for me when I discovered I was physically challenged due to cerebral palsy. My love for motorsports, however, was greater than any obstacles created by my fine motor problems. In 1997, when I was 5, my dad brought me one of my favorite toys, a Thrustmaster racing wheel, together with the NASCAR Racing 2. My dad did not know until then, but this was one of the best simulators at the time, in which many people with no effective motor skills would crash just at the first turn. After long days of practice, I began to race bumper to bumper, and soon I was able to get my first victory. Racing games grew more popular throughout the years, as did my love for them. Today, I enjoy spending my weekends playing GTR2, Race 07, and R-Factor with my Momo Racing 4 feedback wheel. I look forward to playing Arca Sim Racing to once more experience the same excitement I had with NASCAR Racing 2. My dad still thinks that these games are too challenging, but these challenges, in addition to my fine motor problems, will never be greater than my love for sim racing. Congratulations, Fernando. Out of all of the letters, yours was definitely my favorite. Fernando, you will receive an S2 license for Live for Speed, Race 07, and Arca Sim Racing, compliments of LFS.net, SimBin, and the Sim Factory. In addition, compliments of SimBin is this hat and this t-shirt that's signed by WTC driver Tom Cornell. Okay, that's
Hold on a second. We got one more letter here that we had to leave have to read that was left out of the contest. My story is quite short and simple, kind of like my brother, the inspiration. My fat, stinky brother was dominating our living space, taking over all audio and visual sensory in our living space.
Is that my brother's letter?
Yeah, this letter was from G-Man, Greg Cole. Greg, thanks for the letter, bud. All right, that about it?
That wraps it up. That does it for episode 15. We thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time.